Welcome back to our channel. What if I told you that one single moment changed the course of history forever? What if a prince raised inside the palace of Pharaoh, surrounded by luxury and power, suddenly became a fugitive hunted by the most powerful empire on earth? And what if that escape was not a tragedy, but the first step in Allah's divine plan to liberate an entire nation? Today, we uncover one of the most dramatic and emotional moments in Islamic history. The incident that forced Prophet Musa AS to leave Egypt. This is not merely a story about a man fleeing for his life. It is the story of destiny, courage, guilt, repentance, and divine guidance. Stay with us until the end because every event in this story leads to an extraordinary turning point that would eventually bring down Pharaoh himself. Now, let us begin. Long before Musa AS was forced to leave Egypt, Allah had already prepared a path for him. Egypt was under the rule of Pharaoh, one of the most arrogant and tyrannical rulers in human history. He claimed absolute authority over the people and even dared to declare himself a god. The children of Israel lived under severe oppression. Their sons were slaughtered, their families terrorized, and their lives reduced to endless suffering. Then Allah willed something remarkable. A child was born among the children of Israel. A child whose arrival terrified Pharaoh before he could even speak his first words. Prophecies had spread throughout Egypt that a boy from the Israelites would one day destroy Pharaoh's kingdom. Fear consumed Pharaoh. In response, he ordered the killing of newborn Israelite boys. But Allah's plan cannot be defeated by human fear. The mother of Musa AS received divine inspiration. She placed her infant son into a small chest and set him upon the Nile River. Imagine the emotions of that mother. The fear, the uncertainty, the tears. Yet she trusted Allah completely. The river carried the child directly to the palace of Pharaoh. The very man who sought to kill him unknowingly brought him into his own home. Pharaoh's wife found the baby and was immediately moved with compassion. She pleaded for the child's life. Thus, Musa AS was raised inside the palace that was destined to become his enemy. Years passed. Musa AS grew into a strong, intelligent, and respected young man. He lived among Egyptian royalty, but never forgot his true identity. He knew he belonged to the oppressed children of Israel. He saw their pain. He witnessed their humiliation. And deep inside his heart, he felt connected to their suffering. One day, an incident occurred that would change everything. It was a day that seemed ordinary. The city was quieter than usual. Many people were indoors. The streets were less crowded. As Musa AS walked through the city, he suddenly noticed two men fighting. One was from the children of Israel. The other was an Egyptian. The Israelite recognized Musa AS. Desperate and frightened, he called for help. "Musa, help me. This Egyptian is attacking me." Without hesitation, Musa AS stepped forward. He intended to stop the oppression. He wanted to defend the weaker man. But in a single unexpected moment, events spiraled beyond his control. Musa AS struck the Egyptian. It was one blow, only one, yet the man collapsed. Silence filled the air. Musa AS looked down. The Egyptian was dead. Can you imagine that moment? A powerful young man trying to stop injustice suddenly realizes that a life has been lost because of his action. Shock rushed through him. His heart trembled. He never intended to kill the man. This was not murder planned in anger. It was an accident. Yet the consequences were enormous. Immediately, Musa AS recognized his mistake. The Quran records his words. He said that this was from the work of Satan, who seeks to create enmity and misguidance. Then Musa AS turned to Allah in sincere repentance. He acknowledged his error. He sought forgiveness, and Allah forgave him. This moment teaches one of the greatest lessons in Islam. Even prophets turn to Allah in humility. Even when mistakes occur unintentionally, sincere repentance brings divine mercy. But although Allah forgave Musa AS, the political consequences remained. The dead man was an Egyptian. Musa AS was connected to Pharaoh's palace. If the truth became public, the situation could become extremely dangerous. The next morning, Musa AS entered the city again. His heart was still troubled by what had happened. Then suddenly he saw something shocking. The very same Israelite who had sought his help the previous day was involved in another fight. Again he was arguing and struggling with someone. Musa AS was frustrated. He realized this man seemed to create conflict wherever he went. As Musa AS approached, the Israelite panicked. Perhaps he misunderstood Musa's intentions. Perhaps he feared Musa was angry with him. In desperation, he shouted words that would change everything. "Are you going to kill me as you killed a man yesterday?" The words echoed through the street. For a brief moment, everything stood still. People heard the secret was no longer a secret. The accidental death of the Egyptian was now exposed. News began spreading rapidly. Whispers moved from street to street. The palace heard rumors. Officials became interested. Questions turned into investigations. Investigations turned into accusations. And accusations soon reached Pharaoh himself. Imagine the pressure building around Musa AS. He knew Egypt. He knew Pharaoh. He understood how power worked inside that kingdom. This was not a place where justice would protect him. This was a regime built upon oppression. The situation was becoming increasingly dangerous. Then came the moment that would save his life. A man arrived in haste from a distant part of the city. The Quran does not reveal his name, but his actions would alter history forever. Breathing heavily, he searched for Musa AS. When he found him, he delivered an urgent warning. "Musa, the leaders are discussing your case. They are planning to kill you. Leave immediately. I'm giving you sincere advice." Imagine hearing those words. There was no time for debate. No time for investigation. No opportunity to explain. The decision had already been made. The rulers wanted him dead. And so began one of the most important journeys in prophetic history. Musa AS looked behind him at the land where he had grown up. The palaces, the streets, the memories. Everything he had ever known was in Egypt. Yet now he had to abandon it all. He could not return home. He could not seek protection from Pharaoh. He could not stay among the people he knew. For the first time in his life, Musa AS became a fugitive. Alone, uncertain, hunted. He left Egypt in fear, constantly looking around him. Every sound could be a soldier. Every shadow could conceal danger. Yet despite his fear, his faith remained firm. As he journeyed away from Egypt, he made a heartfelt supplication. "My Lord, save me from the wrongdoing people." These words reveal the heart of Musa AS. He did not place his trust in weapons. He did not rely upon wealth. He did not depend on political allies. He turned directly to Allah. And Allah was already guiding him toward a future greater than anything he could imagine. At this moment, Musa AS had no idea where his path would lead. He did not know that years later he would stand before Pharaoh as a prophet. He did not know that the sea would split before him. He did not know that nations would remember his name for thousands of years. All he knew was that he was walking into the unknown. Hungry, exhausted, alone, yet under the protection of Allah. And this is where the next chapter of his extraordinary journey begins. A journey that would take him to the land of Madyan, where Allah would prepare him for the greatest mission of his life. But what happened when Musa AS arrived there? How did a homeless fugitive become a prophet chosen to confront Pharaoh? And what incredible events awaited him in the desert? We will uncover all of that in Part 2. Welcome back! In Part 1, we witnessed the dramatic event that forced Musa AS to flee Egypt. A single unexpected incident had transformed a prince of Pharaoh's palace into a hunted fugitive. Alone, afraid, and uncertain about the future, Musa AS left behind everything he had ever known. But what seemed like a disaster was actually the beginning of Allah's magnificent plan. The road ahead would test him in ways he never imagined. It would shape his character, strengthen his faith, and prepare him for one of the greatest missions ever entrusted to a human being. Let us continue the story. As Musa AS escaped Egypt, he traveled toward the land of Madyan. The journey was long and dangerous. Remember, Musa AS was traveling without an army, without servants, without supplies, without protection. The man who had once lived in Pharaoh's palace was now crossing harsh terrain alone. The desert sun burned during the day. The nights were cold and lonely. Every step carried uncertainty. He did not know where food would come from. He did not know who he would meet. He did not even know if he would survive. Yet he continued moving forward. His trust remained with Allah. Days passed. His strength weakened. His body grew tired. Eventually, he reached the outskirts of Madyan. There he saw something that immediately caught his attention. Near a well, a large crowd of shepherds had gathered. They were watering their flocks. Animals pushed forward. Voices filled the air. The scene was busy and chaotic, but standing apart from everyone else were two young women. They appeared to be waiting. Their animals remained behind. Unlike the others, they were making no attempt to reach the water. Musa as noticed their difficulty. Despite his own exhaustion, he approached them. He asked politely, "What is the matter with you?" The women explained their situation. They said they could not water their animals until the shepherds had finished. Their father was old and unable to perform the work himself. The answer revealed much about their character. They were modest, respectful, patient. Rather than pushing through the crowd, they waited. Musa as immediately understood their hardship. Without seeking reward or recognition, he stepped forward. Using his great physical strength, he helped them. The task that others struggled to perform was completed quickly. The women were able to return home earlier than expected. Musa as then moved away from the crowd. He sat beneath the shade of a tree. Imagine his condition at that moment. He was exhausted, hungry, far from home, without family, without money, without certainty about tomorrow. Yet his heart remained connected to Allah. Under that tree, he made one of the most beautiful supplications recorded in the Quran. "My Lord, indeed I am in need of whatever good you send down to me." What an incredible prayer. He did not demand. He did not complain. He simply acknowledged his need before Allah, and Allah answered almost immediately. A short time later, one of the two women returned. She approached modestly. She carried a message. Her father wished to meet Musa as. The elderly man wanted to reward him for helping his daughters. Musa as accepted the invitation. When he arrived, he told the old man his story. He explained how he had fled Egypt, how he had escaped Pharaoh, how he feared for his life. The elderly man listened carefully. Then he reassured him. "Do not fear. You have escaped from the wrongdoing people." Imagine the relief Musa as must have felt. For the first time since leaving Egypt, he heard words of safety. For the first time, hope began replacing fear. The old man recognized something special about Musa AS. He saw strength, he saw honesty, he saw integrity. Meanwhile, one of the daughters spoke to her father. She said something remarkable. "Hire him. The best person you can hire is the one who is strong and trustworthy." These words reveal how Musa as impressed those around him. Not through wealth, not through status, not through power, but through character, strength combined with trustworthiness. The elderly man then made an extraordinary offer. He proposed that Musa as marry one of his daughters. In return, Musa AS would work for him for a number of years. For a man who had recently arrived as a homeless fugitive, this was an unexpected blessing. Allah had replaced fear with security, loneliness with family, uncertainty with purpose. Musa as accepted. Years passed in Madyan. Many scholars mention that he worked as a shepherd during this period. The experience was significant. Throughout history, many prophets tended sheep. The responsibility teaches patience, leadership, compassion, awareness. A shepherd learns to guide the weak, protect the vulnerable, remain alert to danger. These lessons would later become invaluable when Musa as led the children of Israel. For years, Allah prepared him quietly. There were no miracles yet, no confrontations with Pharaoh, no dramatic public mission, only gradual preparation. But preparation is often part of Allah's wisdom. The future leader of a nation was being shaped in silence. Eventually, the agreed period of service ended. Musa as prepared to travel once again. This time he was not alone. He had a family. He had stability. He had experience. What he did not know was that the greatest moment of his life was about to occur. As Musa as traveled with his family, they passed through a mountainous region. The night was dark. The weather was harsh. Some narrations describe extreme cold. Visibility was poor. Then suddenly Musa as noticed something in the distance. A fire. A light shining in the darkness. Hope filled his heart. Perhaps he could obtain warmth. Perhaps he could ask for directions. Perhaps he could bring back a burning branch. He told his family to wait. Then he moved toward the light. But this was no ordinary fire. This was the moment Allah had chosen. As Musa AS approached, he heard a voice. The voice called him. Musa, imagine the shock. Imagine the awe. Imagine the overwhelming realization. This was not a human voice. This was a divine communication. Allah spoke to Musa AS. The ordinary shepherd standing alone in the darkness suddenly became one of the greatest prophets in history. Allah informed him of his mission. He was chosen, selected, honored, entrusted with revelation. Then Allah commanded him to remove his sandals because he stood in a blessed valley. The atmosphere was unlike anything Musa AS had ever experienced. The creator of the heavens and the earth was speaking to him. Allah then showed him miraculous signs. He was instructed to throw down his staff. The staff transformed into a moving serpent. Musa AS instinctively stepped back. Then Allah instructed him not to fear. Next, he was told to place his hand inside his garment. When he removed it, it shone brilliantly without injury. These signs would later become evidence before Pharaoh, but at that moment they served another purpose. They strengthened Musa's confidence. Allah was preparing him for a confrontation unlike any other. Then came the command, the mission, the responsibility, the challenge. Go to Pharaoh. Think about what those words meant. Pharaoh was the very ruler from whom Musa AS had fled years earlier. The same ruler who wanted him dead. The same ruler who oppressed the children of Israel. The same ruler who claimed divinity. Now Allah was commanding Musa AS to return, not as a fugitive, not as a criminal, not as a prince, but as a prophet. Musa AS immediately recognized the magnitude of the task. He asked Allah to strengthen him. He prayed for ease. He asked for clarity in speech, and he requested that his brother Harun AS assist him. Allah accepted his prayer. This moment contains one of the most important lessons in leadership. Even prophets seek help. Even prophets recognize their limitations. True strength is not pretending to need nobody. True strength is turning to Allah and accepting support when necessary. Soon Musa AS began the journey back toward Egypt. Imagine his thoughts. Years earlier he had escaped in fear. Now he was returning with divine guidance. Previously he fled from Pharaoh. Now he was sent directly to confront him. The hunted man had become Allah's messenger. The fugitive had become a prophet. The refugee had become a leader. Everything had changed, and yet none of it would have happened without the incident that forced him to leave Egypt. Had Musa AS never departed Egypt, he might never have reached Madyan. Had he never reached Madyan, he might never have experienced those years of preparation. Had he never undergone that preparation, he would not have been ready for the mission Allah had chosen for him. This is one of the greatest lessons from the story. Sometimes what appears to be a disaster is actually a doorway. Sometimes what appears to be a loss is actually protection. Sometimes what appears to be the end is only the beginning. When Musa AS fled Egypt, he could not see the future. He saw fear. Allah saw destiny. He saw uncertainty. Allah saw preparation. He saw exile. Allah saw a prophet in training, and this remains true for believers today. There are moments in life when events make no sense. Doors close, plans fail, unexpected hardships appear. But the story of Musa AS reminds us that Allah's wisdom extends beyond human understanding. The road may be difficult. The journey may be painful. But Allah guides events toward outcomes we cannot yet see. The incident that forced Musa AS to leave Egypt was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of one of the greatest missions in human history. From a frightened fugitive to a chosen prophet. From the deserts of Madyan to the court of Pharaoh. From uncertainty to revelation. From exile to destiny. And in the chapters that followed, Allah would use Musa AS to challenge tyranny, liberate the oppressed, and demonstrate miracles that the world would remember forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through Islamic history, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with others so that more people can discover the powerful lessons hidden within the lives of Allah's prophets. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.